The town of Willow Creek was small, quiet, and safe. Everybody knew everybody. It was the kind of place where children played in open fields, neighbors waved at each other, and secrets never lasted long. But in the summer of 2003, one secret was born in this quiet little town. A secret that stayed hidden for 20 years. And that secret was about a boy named Michael Harris. Michael was only 18, tall with brown hair and bright green eyes. He was not the richest boy in town, not the most popular either, but he had a kind heart. And that heart belonged to Emily Carter. Emily was 17, with long blonde hair and a smile that made everyone feel warm. She and Michael had been best friends since childhood. By high school, their friendship had turned into something deeper, something everyone in town could see. They were young, but they were in love. People used to say, Michael and Emily will be together forever. They walked hand in hand after school, shared milkshakes at the diner, and dreamed about the future. Emily wanted to be a teacher. Michael wanted to open a small business, maybe a repair shop, maybe something bigger. But no matter what the dream was, they always saw each other in it. Forever was their word. But forever ended one hot summer night. It was the 4th of July. The town was alive with fireworks and laughter. Families gathered at the park, children ran with sparklers in their hands, and music played in the background. Emily stood under the glowing sky, searching for Michael. He had promised to meet her there. He had promised to watch the fireworks with her, just like every year. But this time, he never showed up. At first, Emily thought maybe he was late. She checked her watch again and again. She smiled nervously at her friends and said, "He'll be here soon." But as the fireworks ended and people started to leave, her smile faded. Michael was nowhere. That night, Emily went home with a heavy heart. She called him. No answer. She went to his house. The windows were dark. His parents' car was gone. The house felt empty, almost abandoned. It was as if Michael had disappeared into thin air. The next morning, rumors spread like wildfire. Some said Michael had run away to the city. Others whispered about trouble in his family. A few even suggested he was hiding something dangerous. But no one knew the truth. Not his teachers. Not his friends. Not even Emily, the girl who thought she knew him better than anyone else. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. And still, no word from Michael. Emily's heart broke in silence. She went to school with a smile, but every night she cried, asking the same question, why did he leave without saying goodbye? Her friends tried to comfort her. They said, maybe he'll come back. Her parents told her, you're young, you'll move on. But deep inside, Emily refused to believe he was gone forever. She held onto his memory like a candle in the dark. She replayed every moment in her mind, the way he laughed, the way he held her hand, the way he said, I'll always be here. But he wasn't. He was gone. And the strangest thing? Nobody ever found him. No letters. No phone calls. No trace. Just silence. It was like the earth had swallowed him whole. For the town of Willow Creek, Michael Harris became nothing more than a mystery. People stopped talking about him after a while. They moved on with their lives. But not Emily. She couldn't move on. Not really. She carried his ghost everywhere she went. Every birthday, every holiday, every lonely night she wondered where he was. Was he alive? Was he safe? Did he ever think about her? Or had he forgotten? Years passed, but the wound never healed. Emily grew older, but part of her stayed 17, the girl waiting under the fireworks for the boy who never came. Sometimes, she walked past his old house, now sold to another family. She would stand there for a moment, remembering the boy with green eyes who had promised her forever. The world told Emily to forget. But her heart whispered, what if he comes back? And so, for 20 long years, she carried both hope and pain. She built her life, yes. She studied, worked, and smiled. But deep inside, there was always an empty chair beside her. Always a missing piece. Always the shadow of Michael Harris. What Emily did not know was this: Michael's story was not over. And one day, after 2 decades of silence, the boy who vanished would return. He would knock on her door. He would stand in front of her, no longer a boy but a man with secrets in his eyes. And he would finally speak the words that Emily had waited 20 years to hear. But on that summer night, back in 2003, she knew none of this. She only knew one thing. Michael Harris had disappeared. And nobody knew why. 20 years had passed since that night in Willow Creek. 20 years since Michael Harris disappeared without a single word. Emily Carter was no longer that 17-year-old girl standing under the fireworks. She was 37 now, a woman who carried both strength and scars. Life had shaped her in many ways. She had become a teacher, just like she always dreamed. Children in her classroom loved her kindness, and parents respected her patience. To the outside world, Emily seemed happy. But behind closed doors, she was still the girl waiting for answers. She never married. Not because she didn't have the chance. Many men had tried to win her heart, but Emily always felt something missing. A part of her stayed locked in the past, in the memory of the boy with green eyes who had vanished into the night. On a cold autumn evening, Emily sat alone in her small house. A storm rumbled outside, rain tapping against the windows. She graded homework papers, her mind wandering back to memories she had tried so hard to bury. Then, a sudden knock at the door broke the silence. She froze. At this hour, who could it be? Slowly, she stood up, her footsteps echoing in the quiet house. She pulled the curtain aside and looked out. A man stood there, his figure shadowed by the rain. He was tall, broad-shouldered, but older. His hair was dark, touched with gray. His clothes were worn, his face tired. Emily's heart began to race. She didn't recognize him at first. But then, he lifted his head. And in that instant, she saw them, those same green eyes she had never forgotten. It was him. Michael. Her breath caught in her throat. She stumbled back, her mind spinning. This can't be real. This can't be him. But it was. After 20 years, the boy she loved was standing at her door. Her hands shook as she opened the door, her voice trembling. Michael. He nodded, water dripping from his hair. His face carried years of struggle, but his eyes still carried something familiar. Something that made her heart ache. Emily, he said softly. His voice was deeper now, rougher, but it was his voice. It's me. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The storm raged outside, thunder rolling across the sky. Emily felt 100 emotions at once: shock, anger, pain, and somewhere deep inside, a flicker of the love she thought she had buried. Finally, she whispered, "Why are you here?" Michael looked at her with tired eyes. "Because I need to tell you why I disappeared." Her chest tightened. 20 years of questions rushed back into her mind. 20 years of lonely nights, wondering, crying, waiting. And now, the answer was standing in front of her. Emily wanted to slam the door in his face. She wanted to scream at him, to ask why he left her broken and confused. But at the same time, she wanted to hear him. She wanted to know the truth. She stepped aside, her voice sharp. "Come in." Michael entered the small living room, dripping rain onto the floor. He looked around quietly, as if trying to take in the life she had built without him. Emily crossed her arms, keeping her distance. Her heart was racing, but her voice was steady. "You left," she said. You vanished. For 20 years, nothing. Do you have any idea what that did to me? Michael lowered his head. I know, he whispered. And I am sorry. I should have told you. I should have stayed. But I couldn't. Emily's voice cracked. Couldn't? Or wouldn't? He looked at her then, his eyes full of something she had never seen before, fear. Emily, he said slowly. I didn't disappear because I wanted to. I disappeared because I had to. If I stayed, you could have been hurt. Maybe worse. Her stomach turned. His words only added more mystery. Hurt. Danger. What was he talking about? Don't play games with me, Emily snapped. What danger? What happened? Michael sighed, his shoulders heavy with years of secrets. I'll tell you everything. But you have to trust me. Just this once. Emily stared at him, torn between rage and longing. Trust him. After 20 years? After leaving her with nothing but silence. But then again, this was the moment she had dreamed of for so long. The chance to finally hear the truth. The chance to finally know why he left. She nodded slowly, though her voice was cold. Fine. Talk. Michael's jaw tightened. He took a deep breath. His next words made Emily's heart stop. The night I disappeared, it wasn't by choice. My father, he was involved in something dangerous. Something that put us all at risk. That night, I had no choice but to leave. If I stayed, you would have been in danger too. Emily stared at him, her mind spinning. She didn't know if she could believe him. She didn't know if this was the truth, or just another excuse. But she knew one thing: this was only the beginning. Michael had returned. And with him, the mystery of 20 years had come back to life. The room was silent, except for the ticking of the old clock on the wall. Emily sat stiffly in her chair, her eyes fixed on Michael. 20 years of anger burned inside her, but so did 20 years of longing. Michael looked different now. His once bright face carried lines of hardship. His hair had grown darker, sprinkled with gray. But his eyes, those green eyes she remembered, still carried the same intensity. Emily's voice broke the silence. You disappeared. You left me with nothing but questions. And now you show up after 20 years, saying you had no choice? You think that's enough? Michael lowered his gaze. His hands trembled as he rubbed them together. No, he said quietly. It's not enough. But it's the truth. And you deserve to hear all of it. Emily crossed her arms, her voice sharp. Then talk. Stop hiding. Stop running. Tell me why you left. Michael drew in a deep breath, his chest rising slowly. That night, my father came to me. He told me things I didn't know, things I wish I never learned. He was in trouble, Emily. Serious trouble. He owed money to dangerous people. People who don't forgive. People who don't forget. Emily's brow furrowed. She wanted to interrupt, but she let him continue. Michael's voice grew heavier. My father said if I stayed, if I was seen with you, they would use you to hurt me. They would use you to punish him. I couldn't let that happen. I thought leaving would protect you. Emily's eyes filled with tears, but her heart stayed hard. Protect me? Michael, you broke me. Do you understand that? I waited for you. I cried for you. Every day, I wondered if you were alive, if you ever cared. That's not protection. That's punishment. Michael flinched at her words. His jaw tightened as if every sentence cut into him. I know, he said, his voice cracking. I know what I did. And I've lived with that pain every single day. Do you think I forgot you? Do you think I moved on? Emily, I never stopped loving you. Not once. Emily looked away, her throat tightening. Part of her wanted to believe him, but another part screamed at her not to. If you loved me, you would have trusted me. You would have told me. Instead, you left me in the dark. Michael leaned forward, his voice urgent. I couldn't risk it. If I told you, you might have followed me, or begged me to stay. And if you stayed with me, you'd be a target. I couldn't let that happen. The only way to keep you safe was to disappear. His words filled the room with heavy silence. The storm outside had quieted, but inside, the tension only grew. Emily whispered, so you ran. Where did you go? Michael's eyes clouded with memories. Everywhere. Nowhere. I changed towns, changed names. I worked in small jobs, construction, repair shops, anything that kept me moving. I never stayed long enough to build a life. I was always looking over my shoulder. Always waiting for the past to catch me. Emily studied him carefully. His hands were rough, his face weathered. It was clear his life hadn't been easy. But still, the wound inside her refused to heal. And for 20 years, she said bitterly, you never thought I deserved the truth. Michael's shoulders sagged. I wanted to come back. So many times. But I told myself you were better off without me. That maybe you had moved on, maybe you were happy. I didn't want to ruin your life again. Emily shook her head, tears sliding down her cheeks. You didn't just ruin my life once, Michael. You ruined it every single day you stayed away. Her words hit him like a blow. He lowered his face into his hands, his body shaking with guilt. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The weight of the past pressed down on them both, heavy and suffocating. Finally, Emily asked, her voice trembling, why now? Why come back after all this time? Michael lifted his head slowly. His eyes glistened with a pain she had never seen before. Because the truth finally caught up with me. And because I don't have much time left. Emily's breath hitched. She stared at him, confusion and fear rising in her chest. What do you mean? Michael swallowed hard. I'm sick, Emily. The doctors say it's serious. Maybe a year, maybe less. I didn't want to die without telling you the truth. Without seeing you one last time. The room went silent again. Emily's heart felt like it was breaking all over. Anger, sadness, love, and pity all mixed together until she couldn't tell which one was stronger. For 20 years, she had dreamed of this moment. And now it was here. But it wasn't the reunion she imagined. It was darker. Sadder. More complicated. Michael looked at her, his voice soft but steady. I don't expect forgiveness. I just need you to know, everything I did to keep you safe. And even in the darkest places, even when I was running from everything, I never stopped loving you. Emily wiped her tears, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't know if I can forgive you, Michael. But I need to hear everything. No more secrets. Not now. Michael nodded, his face solemn. Then I'll tell you everything. Every secret. Every lie. Everything I've carried for 20 years. And as the night grew darker, the truth that had been buried for decades finally began to rise to the surface. Emily sat frozen, her mind spinning. Michael's words echoed inside her like thunder. I'm sick. I don't have much time left. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. For 20 years, she had imagined this reunion 1,000 different ways, sometimes angry, sometimes joyful, sometimes painful. But she had never imagined it like this. The boy who once promised her forever was sitting in her living room, broken, older, and carrying the shadow of death on his shoulders. Emily gripped the edge of her chair. Her voice was sharp, almost bitter. So now you come back. After all this time. After leaving me in pieces, you show up only because you're dying. Michael's face tightened with guilt. I came back because I couldn't leave this world without seeing you again. Without telling you the truth. Emily shook her head, her tears falling fast. The truth? You keep saying that word, Michael. But all I've heard are excuses. I had to leave. I had no choice. I wanted to protect you. Do you have any idea how hollow that sounds to me? Michael leaned forward, his voice low but firm. I know it sounds like excuses, but it's not. And I can prove it? Emily's eyes narrowed. Prove it? How? Michael reached into his worn jacket. For a moment, Emily's heart skipped. What was he pulling out? Then he placed a faded envelope on the coffee table. The paper was yellowed, the edges curled, as if it had traveled many miles. He slid it toward her. This belonged to my father. It explains everything. Emily hesitated. Her fingers shook as she picked up the envelope. Inside was a letter, handwritten, the ink smudged with age. She unfolded it slowly, her eyes scanning the words. Her lips moved as she read aloud. To my son, Michael. If you are reading this, it means you had to run. Forgive me, son. My mistakes have followed me, and the people I owe will never stop hunting. They will come for you. And if you stay, they will use Emily against you. Leave her. Protect her. Even if it breaks your heart. She must never pay for my sins. Emily's hands trembled. The words blurred as tears filled her eyes. She dropped the letter onto the table and looked at Michael, her voice trembling. This is real. Michael nodded. It's real. My father gave it to me the night I left. I never showed it to anyone. Not even the police. I kept it hidden all these years. Emily's heart pounded. The anger inside her warred with something else, understanding. For the first time, she saw the boy she once loved not as a coward, but as someone trapped in a nightmare not of his making. But even as compassion tugged at her, pain still held her tight. So you left because you thought it would save me. But Michael, it destroyed me. Michael's eyes filled with tears. I know. And that's the weight I've carried every single day. I saw your face in every dream. I heard your voice in every silence. You think you were broken, Emily. I was already broken the night I left you. Her chest ached. She wanted to scream, to cry, to run into his arms. But she also wanted to push him away forever. Old love and new pain pulled her in opposite directions until she felt like she was tearing apart. Why didn't you trust me? She whispered. Why didn't you let me decide for myself? Michael's voice cracked. Because if something had happened to you, I could never live with it. I would rather break my own heart 1,000 times than risk your life once. Emily covered her face with her hands. Tears slid between her fingers. She had waited 2 decades for answers, and now that she had them, her heart was more conflicted than ever. The silence stretched, heavy and painful. Then Michael spoke again, his tone softer, almost pleading. I don't expect you to forgive me. I know I don't deserve it. But I came here because I couldn't leave this world without seeing your face again. Without telling you the truth. And maybe, just maybe, without asking for one last chance to be near you. Emily's head snapped up, her eyes red. One last chance? After 20 years. Michael nodded slowly. Yes. Even if it's only for a little while. Even if you never forgive me. I just want to be here. To spend whatever time I have left, with you. Emily's breath shook. She wanted to say no. She wanted to push him out the door and slam it shut forever. But her heart, the same heart that had carried his memory for 20 years, betrayed her. Deep inside, the love was still there. Bruised. Buried. But alive. She turned her face away, whispering through tears. I don't know if I can give you that. Michael's eyes glistened. Then let me earn it. Day by day. If I only have months left, let me spend them proving to you that leaving was never because I stopped loving you. It was because I loved you too much. Emily's chest tightened. His words cut deep, stirring something she had tried to kill years ago. But could she open her heart again? Could she risk the pain of losing him all over? The storm outside had faded into silence, but inside the house, the real storm was only beginning. And as the night dragged on, one truth became clear: Emily's next decision would change everything. The night grew long. The storm outside had ended, but inside Emily's heart, the storm raged stronger than ever. She sat across from Michael, her face pale, her eyes red from tears. 20 years of pain, 20 years of questions, and now 20 years of truth had fallen onto her all at once. Michael sat quietly, his hands folded, his shoulders heavy with guilt. He looked older than his years, worn down by time, regret, and the illness that now shadowed his life. Yet, even in his brokenness, Emily could still see the boy she once loved, the boy who held her hand under the summer sky, the boy who had promised her forever. But forever had not come. Emily's voice was soft, but sharp enough to cut through the silence. Do you know what you've done to me, Michael? You left me waiting for 20 years. You stole my youth, my peace, my trust. I built my life around your absence. And now, you walk in with your secrets, your sickness, and you want, what? My forgiveness. My love. Michael swallowed hard. His voice shook. No, I don't want to steal anything more from you. I came only to give you the truth, to let you know I never stopped loving you. If all I get is your anger, I will carry it. If all I get is your silence, I will accept it. But if I could have one thing, just one, it would be the chance to spend whatever time I have left near you. Not as a lover, not even as a friend. Just, near you. Emily's chest ached. His words were humble, but they cut deep. She wanted to push him away. She wanted to cling to him. Every part of her was at war. She stood and walked toward the window. The rain had stopped, and the moon shone dimly on the wet streets. She stared out, her voice trembling. Do you know how many nights I stood here, asking myself why you left? Do you know how many mornings I woke up wishing I could erase you from my heart, but I never could? You haunted me, Michael. For 20 years, you haunted me. Michael's eyes filled with tears. And you haunted me. Every town, every job, every night, I carried you with me. I left my home, my name, my life, but I never left you. I never could. Emily pressed her hand against the cold glass, her tears falling silently. So what do we do now? What's left for us? Michael rose slowly, his movements heavy with fatigue. He walked closer but stopped at a distance, afraid to push her too far. His voice was low. What's left is whatever you allow me to have. If you tell me to leave tonight, I will. You'll never see me again. But if you let me stay, even just a little while, I'll spend every moment proving that my love never died. The air grew heavy. The seconds stretched like hours. Emily turned, her eyes searching his face. In them, she saw both the man he had become and the boy she once loved. She saw the pain, the regret, the truth. And slowly, something inside her broke, not the anger, not the wounds, but the chains she had carried for 2 decades. She whispered, I don't know if I can forgive you. But I don't want to hate you anymore. Michael's breath hitched, his eyes shining. That's enough. That's more than I deserve. She walked toward him, her steps unsteady. For a moment, they stood face to face, the weight of 20 years pressing down on them. Then, Emily did something she never thought she could do. She reached out and took his hand. His hand was rough, trembling, but warm. The touch sent a flood of memories rushing back, the laughter, the dreams, the love. For the first time in 20 years, she allowed herself to feel it again. "Stay," she whispered. "For however long you have left, stay." Michael's body shook as he closed his eyes, relief washing over him. Tears slid down his cheeks. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you, Emily." They stood there in silence, holding hands, as the moonlight poured softly through the window. The years they had lost could never be returned. The pain could never be erased. But in that moment, they chose to stop fighting the past. They chose to live whatever future was left together. It would not be forever. It would not be easy. But it would be theirs. And as Emily leaned her head against Michael's shoulder, one final thought filled her heart. After 20 years of silence, after 20 years of questions, the answer had finally come. Love was still here. And for however long it lasted, it would be enough.